Hi everyone, welcome back to Rich's Garage. Rich here with part 4 of the Showtime Studios truck build-off. So this time I have a couple things to show you, and I also have a couple of questions. It rained again all weekend, pretty much, so I didn't prime anything. The engine still is not primed. So I went ahead and started on the frame. So here you can see the frame. So a couple interesting things with the frame. In the instructions it says to start with this back piece that goes, let me flip this around, on the back half here. Now, there's a little recess in here on both sides. I think you can see it in there. So when you put this on, that's fine, right? I'm assuming then, right, that you're going to have, let me see here, I got this upside down, let's try it this way. There we go. Right, a little bit of an overhang, a little bit of frame rail exposed. So that's, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I said, well, let me first do these two cross members to set the width of the frame. So let me get that up there. And there's probably the best spot you can see, right there, a little bit of overhang. So I'll have to, I can't imagine that would pinch in, right? So I got to just clean that up and put that piece on. Let's see if I can get a good better picture of, that's probably about the best view of it. So I left that off until I got this part set in here, and I have this piece as well that goes in front of that. So I had to do a fair amount of fitting to get this to fit, but it's square. If I measure, let's see, from that inside corner to this corner is 4 inches, and do the same thing here. That's 4 inches. And then if I do a smaller one in here, this is just about 2 inches, and that way. And this is, I'm hitting, there we go, just about 2 inches as well. The one thing that made me a little bit unsure was I said, okay, let me put, this is the plate for the 5th wheel. And let me set that and see how, make sure I'm square and stuff like that. But as it turns out, doing that, you may not be able to see, but the plate's actually a little bit skewed. So I know that I'm square. This plate really is a little skewed this way. So I'm probably the one doing is just cutting off the tabs, smoothing this all down, and putting it where it's supposed to be. Because I'm pretty comfortable that the frame is square. There's no real perceivable rock or anything in that. I kind of got that there was a little twist in it, and I had gotten that out of it. I left the next cross member out. This is what the cab attaches to. So I can put this in, just let it be loose, and then glue that in. So this part's out. I have to put that in. This is the front cross member that I'm waiting till I do the front axle, so I can make sure that all sits properly. And then what I did was I went ahead and I assembled the 2 rears. So this is backing plates. All right, that's all sanded, cleaned up. Here's the other one. You can see as well. There's a interesting dimple here that I had to put putty and sand around to clean up, but I got that. I also cleaned up the drive shafts, so that's all cleaned up and stuff. So these had to get de-chromed. These were chromed, and then some other tanks that go on the side that are chromed, I de-chromed them. I have to put them together. One thing I want to do is before I set the the rears in place is there's on this cross member, which is really thin, and I had to basically open its key. There's two keys on either side. I opened them up so I can get square or perpendicular to the frame rails, because I could never get it set the way the keys were. So I opened that up, and that's set in there. But on this member, the carrier bearing for the intermediate drive shaft goes. So I'm going to put that in first, then to help locate the rears, to make sure I get them in exactly the right spot, depending on how long these shafts are. So I think that's about there it goes, I think. And this one goes up here. So somewhere around there. So I have to set that, get them in. Check that these springs are also level. So my main question that I have to ask is with the brake chambers and the cam assemblies. So here, let me see if I can show you that. Right, this is all right. So if I look at the instructions, and I know that Kevin from North Louisiana Car Shop had left a comment that he had built this Peterbilt, so maybe he can help me out. But let me see if I can get this up in here. Sure. Okay. So directions that show that the cam or the rod goes into the backing plate, which is biased with the assembly upside down towards the front of the truck. Right, so that's, I'm going to pick any one here. So that would be this guy towards the front, which it is. And it shows this assembly being like this. Okay. The problem that I find is if I was to do that, I'm just going to slip this in here, and I get, I'll try and hold that in place here, and I get the actuating rod to be level and perpendicular, the cylinder is going to hit the spring in the assembly, because this goes something like this. Alright, let's try this again. So really quick, let me just drop this in. So something like that, right? It's going to hit this spring. And if you were to move it up out of the way, then it's not really resting on the axle, it's just floating out there. So maybe that's the way that's supposed to be, floating. But it's not, that's not how I read the drawing. If I was to change, and the other thing too, if you look in the drawing, these pieces, which are the U, which is kind of simulating like an axle mounting point, it's not shown on top here on the drawing. So I don't know if I'm supposed to cut them off or what, but I didn't. But if I put this in opposite hand and I move it from being on this side to here, and I rotate it around so that the cylinder, brake cylinder is on the bottom, it fits perfect. So I'm thinking that that's the way it should go. You know, I'm hoping that someone else who's built this kit can tell me, or someone who knows a Peterbilt 359 better than I do can tell me. But that really looks like that's how that should go, and not this way. So the other thing I just checked, you know, well, what if the instructions had the backing plate in the wrong position, and it really should be indexed towards the back? Well, if you do that, then the radius is wrong. This rod never gets in there. It's always too high. It'll always be too high. So if someone's got an answer, I appreciate it. If I don't get an answer, I'm going to build it, like I said, opposite hand, because it just seems to make more sense. It won't drag. I checked with the wheels. So that's where I am with that. My next chance to work on this is going to be Friday, which is before the 4th of July. I'm not going to have a chance to work on it anymore this week. So so that's that. It's like I said, my goal was to get this all together in a rolling chassis with the engine in place and have the chassis painted. So I'm still kind of on track for that. If I can prime this either the morning of the 4th of July or that night, the Friday before, and then let it dry for a couple of days, and then Sunday assemble it and have it all together. That's what I'm kind of hoping. So until next time, hope you guys are having good luck with your trucks. And like I said, if someone's got any answers for me, I'd appreciate it. So other than that, take care.